Hi, this is Howie from Prime Your Pump, entertaining and actionable self-improvement. The piece of advice I'd like to give you this week is about motivation. How do you motivate yourself or someone else to do something? Now, there are two types of motivation: extrinsic motivation and intrinsic motivation. Extrinsic motivation is punishments and rewards. At work, it may be a pay raise or a pay decrease, or a pat on the back, or somebody says, job well done, all right? At home, it may be a kiss on the cheek from your spouse, or saying thank you. These are extrinsic motivators. They come from somebody else to you with the intention of making you repeat an act or do something again. And most people live in an extrinsic world. Now, there's something called intrinsic motivation, which most people are not familiar with. And this is really the subject matter of today's lesson. Intrinsic motivation is the motivation you get from the sheer joy of doing an act. So the first thing I'd like you to do is think of the last thing you did for the sheer pleasure of it and rule out sex. So I'm going to give you 5 seconds to think of it. So, if you have something in your mind, it might be went shopping, went to the movies, played baseball with your kid, talked on the phone to your friend, and you'll notice when you did that, you were experiencing joy, you weren't tired, you weren't fatigued. Now, the trick of intrinsic motivation is it cannot be given to you like extrinsic motivation. I can give you $20 to extrinsically motivate you, but I can't give you intrinsic motivation. The way you create the way you stimulate intrinsic motivation is by creating an environment in which someone else can actually improve themselves and do better. So, as an example of intrinsic motivation and extrinsic motivation, about 25 years ago, I was 25 pounds heavier than I am now. And my doctor told me, okay, if you don't lose weight, you're going to have a stroke. Well, that was extrinsic motivation. He scared the bejesus out of me. And my wife said to me, hey, you're looking more like a pear than an hourglass. That was extrinsic motivation. So I started to see a nutritionist. I started to work out, and over the course of about 1.5 years or 2 years, I lost 25 pounds. And when my wife said to me, hey, you're looking more like an hourglass than a pear again, that was extrinsic motivation. But when I looked at myself in the mirror and I saw that through my hard work and my effort, I had improved myself, I felt a joy of improvement. And that is intrinsic motivation. And that is what you want to learn how to stimulate in others and in yourself. Remember, the trick is you can't give it to someone. You have to create an environment in which they have an opportunity to improve themselves. So that's the lesson for this week. And remember, until next week, prime your pump.